So today I have one of my favorite books, another one of my favorite books, as my kitty cat eats behind me. This book is called Harold and the Purple Crayon, and it's all about how you can take something simple, like a purple crayon, and use your imagination to draw something or create something that you want. It's kind of the same thing that we would do in the classroom with boxes and what we could create with boxes and all the things that our brain can think of to make the boxes come into something different. So I'm going to share my screen. I have these floating controls. Here we go. One evening, after thinking it over for some time, Harold decided to go for a walk in the moonlight. There wasn't any moon, and Harold needed a moon for a walk in the moonlight, and he needed something to walk on. He made a long straight path so he wouldn't get lost, and he set off on his walk, taking his big purple crayon with him. But he didn't seem to be getting anywhere on the long straight path, so he left the path for a shortcut across a field, and the moon went with him. The shortcut led right to where Harold thought a forest ought to be. He didn't want to get lost in the woods, so he made a very small forest with just one tree. It turned out to be an apple tree. The apples would be very tasty, Harold thought, when they got red. So he put a frightening dragon under the tree to guard the apples. It was a terribly frightening dragon. It even frightened Harold. He backed away. His hand holding the purple crayon shook. Suddenly he realized what was happening, but by then Harold was over his head in an ocean. He came up thinking fast, and in no time he climbed aboard a trim little boat. It quickly set sail, and the moon sailed along with him. After he had sailed long enough, Harold made land without much trouble. He stepped ashore on the beach, wondering where he was. The sandy beach reminded Harold of picnics, and he thought of picnics made him hungry, so he laid out a nice simple picnic lunch. There was nothing but pie, but there were all kinds of 9 different kinds of pies that Harold liked best. When Harold finished his picnic, there was quite a lot left. He hated to see such a delicious pie go to waste. So Harold left a very hungry moose and a deserving porcupine to finish it up, and off he went looking for a hill to climb to see where he was. Harold knew that the higher up he went, the further he could see, so he decided to make a hill into a mountain. If he went high enough, he thought, he could see the window of his bedroom. He was tired and he felt he ought to be getting to bed. He hoped he would see the bedroom window from atop the mountain. But as he looked down over the other side, he slipped, and there wasn't any other side of the mountain. He was falling in thin air. But luckily, he kept his wits and his purple crayon. He made a balloon, and he grabbed onto it. He made a basket under the balloon big enough to stand in. He had a fine view from the balloon, but he couldn't see his window. He couldn't even see a house. So he made a house with windows, and he landed the balloon on the grass in the front yard. None of the windows was his window. He tried to think where his window ought to be. He made some more windows. He made a big building full of windows. He made lots of buildings full of windows. He made a whole city full of windows. But none of the windows was his window. He couldn't think where it might be. He decided to ask a policeman. The policeman pointed the way Harold was going anyway, but Harold thanked him. And he walked along with the moon, wishing he was in his room and in his bed. Then suddenly, Harold remembered. He remembered where his bedroom window was. When there was a moon, it was always right around the moon. And then Harold made his bed, he got in it, and he drew the covers. The purple crayon dropped on the floor, and Harold dropped off to sleep. So Harold went on an adventure just by drawing as he went. He started off by just going down a straight path with the moon, and then it became about a forest, and about an apple tree, and about a frightening dragon, and then about the ocean, and then about going in the air, and then a picnic, and then on a hill, and then a mountain, and then a hot air balloon, and then a bunch of windows, and then finally realizing that he could draw his own window and go back to his own bed. So I hope this inspires you to build something from boxes, or take your crayons or your markers or your pencils and draw a story. If you do draw a story or tell a story or have a story you want to share, let Miss Amanda know or let your bigger person know and they can tell me. I hope you enjoy this book, and I shall talk to you all soon. Bye, Dragonflies.